When the top football strategist in your organization bails mid-season, and not just for another job, but for a whole different sport, that's not career development. That's called getting out before the house burns down. The Cleveland Browns are unraveling in real time. Executives are ghosting, coaches are spiraling, the team looks lost. And somehow, right in the heart of all this chaos, stands a name nobody expected. Shadur Sanders, a fifth-round rookie, barely active on game days, quietly waiting on the sidelines while the entire front office self-destructs above him. But now, practice footage is leaking, analysts are dropping hints, and whispers around Berea say, what the Browns aren't ready to admit out loud, Shadur might be next. This isn't just a front office shuffle, this is a franchise in full-blown panic mode, and the desperation is spreading. Staff are quitting, coaches are panicking. And Haslam? He's pacing the halls like a billionaire on the verge of setting the whole organization on fire again. So what's really happening inside the Browns' melting core? And how did a quiet, unproven rookie become the most talked about name in a billion-dollar meltdown? Buckle up, because this story isn't just insane. It might reshuffle everything we thought we knew about where the Browns are headed next. You don't just walk away from an NFL front office mid-season, not if things are functional, not if the ship's sailing in the right direction. But Paul DePodesta, he didn't just walk, he ran, and didn't stop running until he was out of football completely. Let that sink in. The Cleveland Browns' chief strategy officer, the analytics guru who was supposed to help engineer the team's future, just packed up his office and joined a baseball team. Seriously. The Colorado Rockies. That's not a smooth career pivot, that's a calculated escape route, a jump off the Titanic before the band even finished tuning. A man whose job was literally to plan the future of the Browns decided that baseball, a sport with 162 games and no salary cap, was somehow less chaotic than Cleveland football. And here's the wildest part. No one's heard from the guy publicly in years. DePodesta hadn't spoken to Browns media since March of 2022, and now he's gone completely ghost. Nothing. No farewell statement. No press availability. Not even a post-game sideline sighting. He literally vanished, like someone entering witness protection for burned-out football executives. And you want to act like this is normal? Come on. This isn't pursuing other opportunities, this is strategic fleeing. This is what it looks like when even the architect of your rebuild says, nope, I'm out. And DePodesta didn't just leave a team, he left everything he helped build. This is the same guy who helped push for the Browns to go analytics heavy. The one who advocated for bold draft picks, calculated risk-taking, and systematic roster construction. He's been a key voice in this franchise's so-called evolution over the last decade. So when he's bailing, that tells you more than any press conference ever could. And it's not like he left in the offseason, there's no clean timing here. The NFL season is still going. Teams are still fighting for playoff relevance. Execs are supposed to be focused, locked in, managing the chaos with a headset and a spreadsheet. But Paul looked at the mess in Cleveland and said, actually, I'd rather talk WAR ratings than watch one more Browns game. Now insiders are spinning it like it's no big deal. People move on. Executives shift industries. Sure, but not like this. You don't jump from an NFL team to Major League Baseball in the middle of a season without some seriously heavy baggage in your rearview mirror. Especially not if you were meant to be one of the architects of the team's future. Let's be real, when analytics guys start disappearing without a trace, that's not front office politics. That's evacuation protocol. And if you're Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry, you can probably feel your chair getting warmer by the minute. Because when someone that high up hits eject, they're usually not the only one who sees the iceberg coming. It's not just the ship that's sinking, it's the blueprint that was supposed to keep it afloat. The guy holding the map just torched it and jumped overboard. That's not strategy. That's survival. And somehow, this is just the beginning of Cleveland's latest implosion. When the guy who wrote the game plan jumps ship, people start looking over their shoulders. And in Cleveland, they're not just looking, they're running. Paul DePodesta's quiet exit didn't just send a message, it set off alarms. Whispers turned into late-night panic calls. Executives stopped taking meetings. Assistants started opening job boards under their desks. The Browns weren't just slipping, they were spiraling. And Jimmy Haslam? He's pacing through the facility like a man watching his billion-dollar empire crumble in real time. Reports say he's fed up, Tired of losing, tired of excuses, tired of writing blank checks for another season of "next year we promise." And history tells us exactly what happens when Haslam hits that level of frustration. He starts handing out pink slips like Halloween candy. Nobody is safe. Coaches, coordinators, interns, even the water boy probably flinched when his office keycard didn't work that morning. Because when Haslam loses patience, it's not a shakeup, it's a mass purge dressed up in buzzwords like restructuring and new direction. Let's be honest, this isn't the first time we've seen this pattern. But the panic hitting Berea right now? It feels different. Kevin Stefanski's body language says it all. The man went from cool and collected play caller to someone who looks like he hasn't slept since training camp. Soft smiles, distant stares, that look in his eyes like he's already imagining the post-firing vacation. And it's not because he doesn't care, it's because he knows what's coming. He's coaching with the same energy as an employee who's already been ghosted by HR. The kind that keeps refreshing his email hoping for news, while secretly wondering if it's already over. And Andrew Barry? He's probably 3 tabs deep into LinkedIn, nervously updating his resume under the label "Seeking New Challenge." Because when your top exec walks, and ownership is storming the halls with a metaphorical flamethrower, you don't wait around. You prepare your exit now. Word on the street is that Haslam is planning an all-out house cleaning, not just a few tweaks, a scorched earth reboot. He's reportedly tired of every scheme, every coaching tree, every so-called quarterback guru, failing to deliver anything but headlines. And behind his fury is a painful truth. He's built and rebuilt this team so many times, even the walls don't know who's in charge anymore. Now imagine being a player in that locker room. Your GM might be gone next week. Your coach might disappear after Sunday. And you're watching staff members resign, execs ghost the building, and the owner act like he's clearing out a luxury hotel room one body at a time. That doesn't build a winning culture. That builds paranoia. Every hallway conversation turns into speculation. Every closed-door meeting feels like bad news. And the players? They can feel the tension hanging in the air like smoke from a fire nobody wants to admit has started. This isn't just a losing season. This is the collapse before the collapse. And the wildest part? Through all of it, one name keeps echoing in the background. Shadur Sanders. Not the coach. Not the GM. Not the starting quarterback. A rookie. A 5th rounder. A backup who hasn't even taken the spotlight yet. But somehow, in this storm of exits, firings, and chaos, Shedeur is the name they're whispering about behind every closed door. Because when the house is burning, sometimes the last person left standing is the one nobody expected. In most NFL teams, when the building starts shaking and execs start disappearing, the focus turns to the veterans, the guys with rings, or the franchise quarterback, or some big-name free agent blamed for not living up to the hype. But in Cleveland, the loudest name floating through the flames is Shadur Sanders, a rookie, a 5th-round pick, a quarterback who hasn't started a single NFL game. And yet, somehow, his name is being whispered behind every closed door like he's the secret ingredient to fixing a recipe that hasn't worked in decades. So how did that happen? Let's rewind to the draft. Sanders came in with expectations mostly college hype, flashes of brilliance at Colorado, impressive mechanics, a coach for a father, and confidence bordering on cinematic. But on draft day, teams hesitated. He fell. And the Browns picked him up, quietly and without much fanfare. He wasn't supposed to be the guy, but chaos creates opportunity, and Cleveland breeds chaos like it's grown in the turf. Now, with Gabriel struggling to push the ball downfield, whispers around Berea are getting louder. Shedeur looks sharp in practice. He's handling scout reps like a pro. He doesn't look rattled. He might already be better than Gabriel. And then came the footage clips from team sessions, showing Shedeur going up against the Browns' first-team defense with the second-team offense, and holding his own, poised, calm, crisp throws. A few flashes of athletic magic that had fans doing the one thing they do best in Cleveland, hope blindly. He's not running with the starters yet, not officially. But the idea's planting itself like a seed that refuses to die. And for Kevin Stefanski? That seed is now sprouting daily press questions. Reporters want to know why the offense is so limited. They're asking why Shedeur, a guy with clear arm talent, isn't at least splitting reps. And meanwhile, Gabriel is out here dinking and dunking his way through 3-and-outs while the scoreboard laughs. More painful than the losses is the lingering possibility. What if the answer is already on the roster? What if Shedeur's "not ready" is just code for "we don't want to throw him in yet"? But the Browns don't have that luxury anymore. Patience is a privilege, and panic has officially set in. Shadur is pulling gravitational attention not because he's a sure thing, but because he's the unknown. In Cleveland, that makes you a celebrity. Every fan base projects dreams onto untested rookies, but Cleveland's different. This team isn't hoping for a second wind, they're praying for resurrection. Every touchdown throw Shadur made in college now feels like a prophecy. Every practice clip gets slowed down, zoomed in, shared online like ancient footage from a chosen one. They need a reason to believe. And right now, Shadur Sanders looks like hope in shoulder pads. It doesn't matter that he hasn't taken a real NFL snap. It doesn't matter that he slipped to the bottom half of the draft. What matters is that in the middle of this organizational firestorm, the rookie looks the most composed out of the entire building. Even opposing analysts are asking the question, why isn't this kid getting a shot? Which, in Cleveland, is how quarterback legends are born or broken. And here's the twist. Shadur's probably not even saying much about it. He's just watching, quietly, listening, practicing, smiling, staying humble as the storm swirls around him, knowing that his number might get called, not because he's ready, but because the team has no other option left. And you better believe he knows the history. This isn't just opportunity, this is legacy. But in Cleveland, every savior becomes a scapegoat if the magic runs out. Here's the thing about Cleveland, this mess? It isn't new. It's not special. It's tradition. The Browns don't just fall apart from time to time. They tear themselves down with the kind of consistency most franchises only dream of. There's a cycle in Cleveland, a permanent heartbreak loop that almost feels intentional at this point. Hype, hope, collapse, excuses, house cleaning, repeat. They dress it up with new slogans every time. New era, fresh start, championship standards, but it all ends the same. 3 or 4 good quarters. A glimpse of greatness. Then boom, the roof caves in again. From the outside looking in, you'd think this team was cursed. From the inside, it's just business as usual. The city gets hyped every offseason. Camps open, new players show out in t-shirts and well-lit TikToks. Analysts say the draft went better than expected. Then comes week 1. Reality hits. By week 3, fans are calling into radio shows with voice trembles. By week 5, there are full-on Reddit conspiracies about which staff members really pulling the strings. By week 8, people are chanting 123 Cancun without even finishing their beer. And somehow, every time it happens, ownership looks shocked. Like they didn't just field a team built on leftover parts and duct tape schemes. This is the Cleveland formula. Pack the roster with potential, slap on a slogan, cross your fingers, then act confused when the foundation crumbles, again. But this year hits different. Because now, it feels like everyone in that building knows how the movie ends, and they're just pretending they don't. Staffers aren't staying late to grind film. They're replying to recruiters during practice breaks. The locker room doesn't look locked in. It looks like a group of guys doing just enough to not get fined, all while waiting to see who gets fired next. And the worst part? The reboot never works. Haslam hits the reset button like a gamer rage quitting a video game that never loads. He fires a coach, brings in a new culture leader, gives a GM 2 years and a wish list, drafts a new quarterback, launches a PR campaign. And then, boom, another implosion. It's like trying to fix a broken system using the same broken tools every single time. There's never a full reset, just a loud one. New voices, same dysfunction. Every system update crashes halfway through. The only consistent element here is the inconsistency. And now, you hear it again in the quiet parts of press conferences. We're looking at everything. We believe in the building. We're focused on execution. Translation? We know it's coming. We just can't say it yet. So once again, the Browns find themselves standing at the exact same cliff they've jumped off a dozen times. Executives want out. Coaches are dodging accountability, and Haslam is pacing like a man ready to clean house with a vengeance and a broom that doesn't miss. And still, somehow, the fans stay. That's the most poetic part of all this. They know the heartbreak is coming. They see the signs clearer than anyone. But every time that rookie steps onto the field, every time someone whispers about a new dawning era, they let themselves believe again. And right now, that flicker of belief, fragile and barely lit, has a new name written on it in permanent marker: Shadur Sanders. Because if this reboot fails again, it won't be because there was no talent. It'll be because the cycle always wins. Here's the problem with the Browns' offense right now, and let's just cut the fluff it's built around a quarterback who can't stretch the field, can't command the locker room, and honestly, can't even control the narrative around him. That quarterback is Dillon Gabriel. Let's not twist it. Dillon's a tough kid, gritty, athletic. He looked promising in college. He says the right things, plays the good soldier role well. But in the NFL, being likable isn't enough. You either move the chains or you move down the depth chart. And right now, Gabriel's sinking. Fast. The Browns' offense has become a predictable mess. Short throws, safe play calls, screens on 3rd and 8, like a team trying to play Madden without a joystick. It's not tactical, it's terrified. Terrified of Gabriel messing it up. Terrified of turning the ball over. So they neuter him before the snap even happens. He's averaging checkdowns, not touchdowns. He's dumping balls into the flat like he's allergic to throwing beyond the sticks. Defenses know this. Opposing defensive coordinators can see it 3 plays in. Box up the run, sit on the slants, and force Gabriel to do what he clearly can't aggressively attack the field. And sure, the coaches haven't said it out loud, but you can hear it in their post-game poetry. We're being careful. We're making sure everything develops at a good pace. We like where he's at. Translation? We're stalling because we don't know what else to do. And all the while, behind him, there's the shadow growing. Shadur Sanders. He's not making noise, not being thrown into reckless packages, not showing up in stat sheets. But inside that locker room, coaches see the difference. You can spot it in practice reps, in the way players react when he's under center the spark. That presence, that thing Dillon just hasn't been able to command. And look, it's not totally Dillon's fault. He was thrown into the fire. A rookie in a broken system with coaches on the hot seat and fans chanting for someone who hasn't played a down. No support system, no time to breathe. That's a recipe for collapse before you even unfold the playbook. But this is the NFL, not therapy. No one wants to hear about feelings when the scoreboard says 2-7. Fact is, Gabriel isn't pushing the team forward. He's stalling them out physically on the field and emotionally in the minds of the fans. It's getting obvious now, too. The line knows it. The receivers know it. The media's dancing around it. And the front office? You better believe those whispers have already started. And here's the kicker. Every single underthrown ball is another open door for Shadur. Every stalled red zone possession, another push forward for the backup quarterback's campaign. Whether coaches admit it or not, the leash is getting shorter. The wiggle room is shrinking. And Gabriel's trial period is wearing a final countdown sticker. Defenders are stacking the box because they know Cleveland doesn't trust Gabriel downfield. Fans are actively tweeting gifs of Sanders every time a drive ends in a punt. The stadium isn't booing, it's waiting. And silence? Sometimes that's worse, because that's how change begins. Quiet, subtle, inevitable. And the sad truth? Gabriel might not even get the dignity of being benched. He'll be rotated, evaluated, given a breather to reset. The NFL specializes in soft landings for hard exits. It's already started, and all it's going to take is one more game. One more drive that dies in neutral. One more safe throw that isn't safe enough. Then they'll turn. And the moment that happens, fair or not, this becomes the Shadour Sanders show, with the entire city watching to see if he's fiction. Or, finally, Cleveland's rewrite. He's still not the starter. He hasn't taken a single NFL snap under the bright lights. You won't find his name lit up on any stat sheet. But every day, every insider whisper, every sideline clip all say the same thing. Shadur Sanders is coming. Not with drama, not with headlines. He's not campaigning for the job or whining for attention. He's waiting, watching, working. And to some in the building, that's the scariest part. Because in Cleveland, quarterback switches don't creep up slowly. They hit you like a wave, sudden and overwhelming. You're riding the usual dysfunction, and then one day the crowd starts chanting the backup's name before he even walks out of the tunnel. But this is different. With Shedeur, it's building gradually like a pressure cooker behind closed doors. Second-team reps have started coming more frequently. Reporters caught him taking snaps against the first-team defense. And he wasn't just surviving, he was surgical. Quick release, confident reads, slinging touch passes across the middle with none of the hesitation you'd expect from a fifth-round rookie. Quarterback's coach? Impressed. Locker room buzz? Active. Veterans? Taking notice. Even defenders anonymously, of course, are reportedly saying in interviews that he's sharper than expected or just different out there. And in the NFL, those small comments mean everything. One quote from a lineman. One nod from a receiver. One tiny shift in attitude and the coaches see it. They see the team responding to him differently. Not cheering for him. Not hoping for his entry. Reacting like he's already in command even when he's not even starting yet. And that's what's got Berea buzzing. Not hype, but energy. Shedeur's not just developing Dodd, he's circling. Still, no huge move has been made. Because making that switch, it's not just a coaching decision, it's a storyline. It's a seismic shift. The Browns have been down this road way too many times. Starting a new quarterback, especially a rookie, means bracing for every headline, every voice on sports radio, every collapse or spark becoming a national talking point. And right now, they're frozen between fear and faith. Do they stay loyal to a quarterback they know doesn't work? Or unleash the one they have no tape on, no expectations surrounding, no guarantee he's ready? But that's the catch. Shadur might be more ready than anyone wants to admit. Because he's not acting like a developmental prospect. He's acting like a silent starter, walking through prep like a pro, leading warm-ups with command, leaving coaches staring at the tablet wondering if it's time to stop protecting the franchise and start saving it. And keep this in mind. When a team loses faith, it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't break the room in half. It just fades. Quietly, internally, whisper by whisper. And that's exactly what's happening now. Gabriel isn't losing games on purpose, but he's losing control. Shedeur isn't begging for the spotlight, but it's drifting his way anyway. The rest of the league might not have caught on. But in that Browns building, everyone can feel momentum about to shift. The confidence, the silence, the presence. Everything is saying the same thing. It's not if he steps into the fire, it's when. And the longer they wait to pull the trigger, the louder the silence surrounding Shedeur gets. Because even in the shadows, even from the sideline, he's already started becoming something Cleveland desperately needs. Not just a quarterback. A reason to believe. If you've been around the NFL long enough, you know that sometimes the most dangerous man in the building isn't the quarterback, the coach, or even the GM. It's the owner. And in Cleveland, that man is Jimmy Haslam. And right now, he's about to blow. To the public, he wears the face of a business mogul, serious, experienced, always talking culture, accountability, and vision. But behind the scenes, everyone knows exactly what time it is when Haslam starts showing up more than usual. It's cutting season, and nobody is safe. This isn't just frustration. This is years of pent-up, billionaire-level temper boiling to the surface, and it's coming out the only way Haslam knows how. Fire someone, then figure out the next move later. The signs are obvious. Whispers are flying through the walls of Berea like sparks in dry grass. Internal meetings are getting more tense. Front office faces are visibly anxious. Players are quieter. Media availability is tighter. People are cleaning out desks without even getting the official talk. Because when Haslam starts making moves, they come rapid, emotional, and violent. Not physically, but professionally. One bad loss, one embarrassing media headline, or one unexpected departure, like cough Paul DePodesta cough. That's all it takes for Jimmy to bring the broom out swinging. And this broom? It doesn't dust. It destroys. Haslam's already done this routine before. Fire a coach mid-season, axe the GM right after, burn the playbook, call it a reset. Bring in a guru, a genius, a motivator, a system guy, only to toss them all out like expired milk within 2 years. It's his thing. Disruption shows progress. That's the mantra he seems to live by, but in reality, it's created one of the most unstable franchises in modern sports. Now, it's starting all over again. First, the analytics guru, DePodesta, evaporates into baseball. Next, Stefanski's body language looks like a man with one foot already in Cancun and the other scanning Zillow listings for somewhere far, far from Ohio. And GM Andrew Berry? Probably already memorizing interview answers for his next team's culture reset. The Haslam meltdown is inevitable. Everyone inside the building feels it. Multiple staff members are reportedly updating resumes, quietly networking, and avoiding eye contact when walking into meetings. That's not productivity, that's preparation for fallout. Even the players, especially the veterans, are on edge. When the top of the building cracks, the foundation doesn't just shake, it breaks. And when that kick starts from ownership, it doesn't trickle down. It crashes. Here's Jimmy's pattern. He explodes emotionally. He fires whoever's closest. He blames the culture. He hires the opposite of whatever just failed. Repeat. In this kind of atmosphere, continuity can't exist. Hope gets reset with every news cycle. Accountability disappears under the weight of constant transition. And development? Out the window. How does a young QB grow in a system where the system itself barely lasts a season? That's why Shedur's situation feels so volatile. If he does take over, it won't be in a stable, well-structured moment crafted for success. It'll be in the middle of a Haslam firestorm where pressure piles on faster than protection. But that's the ride in Cleveland. That's life under the thumb of an owner who wants results faster than reality, allows and blows everything up when it doesn't look Instagram perfect by week 6. You can practically smell the detonation already. We've got a losing record, panic in the front office, media circling like sharks, internal leaks popping up, and fans already treating the next game like a funeral or a fire drill, depending on the score. It's no longer if Haslam wipes the slate again, it's when. This is the part of the script where the heads start rolling. Coaches, executives, assistants, maybe even the mascot if he blinks wrong during warm-ups. And in the eye of this billionaire tornado, there's a rookie quarterback named Shadur Sanders, just waiting. Because no matter who gets fired, no matter how loud the shouting gets, or how fast this ownership train derails, all roads now lead to him. A rookie thrown into professional chaos. A spark standing at ground zero. And if Haslam swings hard enough, he might just hand the keys over. By accident. At this point, it feels like everyone's waiting for the sirens. Not the kind you hear during a play. The ones that mean something bigger, like the fire, already started and you're just hoping it doesn't reach your floor before Friday. That's the energy inside the Cleveland Browns facility right now. Every game feels like someone's final chance. Every practice, another tension-filled dress rehearsal for a front office on the brink. Veterans are whispering about trades and early exits. Coaches are rehearsing press conference answers no one believes. And staffers? Some of them are already gone before the media even finds out. It's not a football team. It's an evacuation plan disguised as a depth chart. Executives have jumped ship. Paul DePodesta ghosted the league. Coaches are reportedly paranoid about phantom firings. And players, the ones left holding the bag, are stuck waiting for someone to either fix this or hit reset so hard the air turns cold. This isn't just a bad run. This is a franchise in free fall. The Browns aren't just losing games. They're losing the room. And once that's gone, it's nearly impossible to get back. Insiders have started leaking what most fans are already sensing. Some players have mentally checked out. The playoff math doesn't add up. The culture feels more like survival mode than brotherhood. It's like everyone knows the season's cooked, and now they're just trying not to be blamed for the kitchen fire. You've got vets eyeing Cancun. Younger players wondering if they're part of the teardown or the next rebuild. And coaches walking on the world's thinnest ice with cleats on. And in the backdrop, steady, quiet, unmoved by the mess, Shadur Sanders. The rookie is everywhere right now. His name is being passed around in meetings like a question no one wants to ask out loud, but everyone can feel. Are we turning to him? Is he ready? Do we wait for the season to be mathematically over? Or do we just rip the Band-Aid now? And the reason it's such a difficult decision is because it feels like his moment is coming in a storm, not a sunrise. This isn't a carefully orchestrated buildup like Mahomes behind Smith. This is a late-night emergency call because the house might collapse before Sunday. But here's the brutal reality. Cleveland's never been good at gentle transitions. They don't hand off torches, they drop them and sprint in the opposite direction. So if Shedeur gets tossed into the fire, he won't be stepping into opportunity. He'll be stepping into chaos. No momentum. No stability. No structure guaranteed to protect him from the collapse around him. Just pressure. Thrown right into the mix, not to learn, but to fix. That's the Ohio way, right? Collapse. Reset. Believe again. Forget development. Forget timed progression. Who has time when the scoreboard is trash, the stadium's half empty, and the local news is calling this season another public embarrassment? And somehow, the most Cleveland feeling of all this is that fans are still watching with their hearts in one hand and paper bags in the other. Because despite everything, they still believe the next chapter might be different. They look at Shedeur and see what they've been chasing for 2 generations. A young, dynamic quarterback they didn't ruin before he even played meaningful snaps. They don't need perfection. They just need hope. Not just reels of promise, but real football played with confidence, purpose, poise. Without the shadow of another franchise reboot creeping in before Halloween. He's got the swagger, he's got the arm, he's got the presence. And most of all, he's untouched by the trauma that haunts so many quarterbacks who came before him in this uniform. He hasn't suffered the ghosts yet, which means he's still pure enough to believe he can survive it. That attitude, that mindset, is the only currency Cleveland has left. And that's why the franchise has quietly shifted onto his shoulders, even if he hasn't taken the field. Because when everything else is falling apart, when ownership is losing control, leadership is fading, and the fans are barely holding on, hope doesn't flow through press conferences, it walks quietly in the background and waits. Here we are again. Another Browns season spiraling into dysfunction. Another front office in retreat. Another quarterback controversy disguised as development. And another owner pacing around like a man who just caught his binge investment going bankrupt in 4 kelvins on national TV. If you've stuck with this team long enough, this chaos doesn't rattle you anymore. And maybe that's the scariest part. In Cleveland, collapse isn't breaking news. It's tradition, but this time feels different. Not because the franchise is in better shape, it's not. Not because ownership found clarity, he hasn't. Not because the season can still be salvaged, it probably can't. But because, for the first time in years, the Browns might actually have something they weren't expecting. Someone who hasn't been pulled down into the curse yet. Shadur Sanders. The rookie they drafted quietly. The guy behind Gabriel on the depth chart. The name that went from an afterthought to a fan base-wide obsession without playing a single NFL down. Strange, isn't it? That in the middle of a meltdown? Stadium half empty. Owners melting down. Coaches short-circuiting. Players checking out. The hope of an entire franchise somehow rests on a 5th-round rookie whose only highlight so far has been a few reps against the first-team defense in practice. But that's how it always starts in Cleveland. They don't fall in love with proven stars. They invest everything, their pain, their future, their prayers into possibility. Because maybe is all that's ever lasted here. Maybe this GM will get it right. Maybe this scheme will finally click. Maybe this quarterback won't be swallowed whole by the never-ending cycle of curse, collapse, and clean-out. And maybe, just maybe, this kid, poised, calm, confident, unshaken by the chaos around him, might actually be different. He hasn't been beaten into timidity. He hasn't been conditioned to accept dysfunction as normal. He doesn't carry the same ghost stories the veterans do. Not yet. And that's why Cleveland quietly, desperately, is already attaching their prayers to his name. Not because he's ready, but because nothing else is working. They've tried systems. They've tried experience. They've tried numbers, slogans, culture shift crusades, and leadership seminars. Now they're trying silence, waiting for that moment when someone, anyone, will finally stop the bleeding. And deep down, they know what's coming. Maybe not this week. Maybe not next. But if Dylan Gabriel has one more bad start, if the fan base tilts too far into despair, if the Haslam broom circles the coach's office one more time, then it happens. The rookie gets the call. The franchise hands him the ball and the wreckage that comes with it and says, "Fix what we couldn't." No pressure, right? But here's the truth. Even if Shadur Sanders isn't the answer, he's something. Something new. Something untouched. Something unburned. And in a city that spent years watching this team set fire to every last ounce of optimism, that counts for more than statistics or scouting reports ever could. Shedeur represents what every Browns fan wants to believe in. That sooner or later, one of these resets will actually work. Maybe it's this season, maybe it's too late. But whatever happens next, one thing's clear. The Browns aren't just flirting with another collapse. They're staring directly at it, waiting for someone to stand up in the ashes and prove they can lead without flinching. And everyone's looking in the same direction, toward the quietest name in the room, Shadur Sanders.